Hey, what's up? It's your guy, Selector, and I'm back at it again. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the fight that just happened between Canelo Alvarez and Billy Joe Saunders. So the fight took place out there in Dallas, Texas, in Cowboy Stadium. Excellent event tonight. They made history tonight. I think the most amount of boxing fans in an indoor stadium in the history of the sport with 73,000 in an indoor, not an outdoor, but an indoor. And it was about 73,000 people showed up for the fight tonight. So congratulations to basically the whole entire Matchroom Boxing and boxing in general and the Dallas Cowboys and Texas. And today is Cinco de Mayo, so, it is a Mexican holiday. So out there in Texas, or out there in just the United States and Mexico, and just everywhere around the world. Happy Cinco de Mayo to all my Mexican people out there. But tonight we're gonna talk about the fight that just happened: Billy Joe Saunders versus Canelo Alvarez. And this fight was like, man. First and foremost, I'd like to say congratulations to Canelo Alvarez for the 8th round TKO victory. He said he was going to get a TKO victory over Billy Joe Saunders. He said he would get him in the 7th, 8th, or 9th round, and he did that. He got him out in the 8th round, so congratulations to Canelo Alvarez for getting the victory. But let's talk about this fight right here, man. I'm telling you right now, this fight was very interesting to say the least. I'm going to tell you how I scored this fight, okay? So basically, the first round came in. Canelo and Billy Joe, it was a feel-out round. Canelo was kind of a slow starter. Billy Joe was picking on him real early, real quick. Billy Joe started popping and moving. He was doing exactly what he was supposed to do against Canelo, because Canelo tends to struggle against like boxers, not like punching guys or knockout artists or sluggers, boxers, guys who portray the sweet signs. So stick and move, pop and move fighters. So basically, Billy Joe Saunders was displaying that. I had Billy Joe Saunders winning that first round. The second round came along. It was a different story. Once the second round came along, I had basically Canelo started getting Billy Joe. He was whining on Billy Joe. He was getting him those uppercuts. He was giving it to Billy Joe. Billy Joe was sticking and moving. Canelo was having a lot of trouble against Billy Joe Saunders, just because stylistically you could see that there was a lot of issues that Canelo was facing. Canelo said, it's going to take a while before I figure this guy out, but I'm going to figure him out. And basically it displayed right there. He was having issues figuring this guy out. Man, this fight was like, it's a very intriguing fight. It's a very interesting fight. And, man, it was an interesting fight to say the least. But basically, Canelo was popping him, sticking and moving. Billy Joe was sticking and moving. Canelo ended up getting him in that second round. In the third round, Billy Joe was kind of exchanging with Canelo, but I still had Canelo because the problem with Canelo Alvarez is this. Canelo Alvarez is a boxer who likes to wound, like he winds his punches. Like he kind of not really a tactician with the sweet science as far as like sticking and moving and getting to his opponents. But he basically winds his punches. So he'll come in there and throw like that, and he'll hit you with the side shots. He gives you the uppercuts and stuff. So he needs a brawler. He needs a guy right in front of him. So you could see Canelo was missing a lot of shots. Billy Joe Saunders was missing a lot of shots as well, but Billy Joe Saunders was hitting with a lot of jabs and a lot of movement going on. And Canelo was having issues with that. I noticed that. I was like, this guy's having a lot of issues with what Billy Joe Saunders is doing right here. So basically, he was having a lot of issues with that, and you could see it in the fight. And it was evident. Literally, this fight, literally. You see what I'm saying? Like, but we'll continue. Basically, then the fourth round came on. I had Canelo winning that second and third round. The fourth round came around. It was kind of close. Like, Canelo was landing with a lot of his shots, but Billy Joe was landing and giving Canelo a lot of slick movement and a lot of shots to the face and the jabs. And he was a ring tactician. He was moving around. He was getting things done. But Billy Joe Saunders was basically kind of a little bit scared. I could see there was some sort of fear in him with those punches. I don't know if those punches, or maybe he'll talk about it in the post fight. Maybe those punches were very, very heavy, and I don't think he could take those punches. I don't think he was able to, like, those punches were heavy, 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 heavy. I don't know. I don't think he was able to. He couldn't handle those punches. It seems like, or he was scared to handle them. He didn't want to get hit. Maybe he was intimidated because he was like, okay, wow, this guy really punches hard. Or maybe he was hearing tales from people, maybe in the gyms and just places saying, yo, he hits really hard. So maybe Billy Joe was like, or maybe Billy Joe saw on film. Billy Joe was like, yo, I got to be careful. I don't want to get hit by this guy. So I have to be very slick, which Billy Joe Saunders was doing. But at the same time, though, Canelo does what Canelo does, and Canelo was basically coming in there, and Canelo was basically the tactician. He was going out there and doing what Canelo does, and I could see Billy Joe afraid of those punches, and sometimes he was questioning maybe he should maybe move and get in, but Canelo was whining on him, giving him uppercuts. Canelo doesn't really hit a lot of jabs. I don't see a lot of movement. He's a stalker, so he's like a hunter. He's a hunter. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to hunt his prey, where Billy Joe's more of the clinical, technical. In hindsight, Billy Joe's more of a better boxer than Canelo. He's the better boxer, but Canelo is the more of the hunter. He's more of like the guy who's going to go at you and give you some exchanges with you and give you some ruthless punches. So Billy Joe, I had Canelo basically winning that fourth round. I had Canelo winning the fourth, man. Some people are saying, oh, Canelo won the fifth. I'm like, no. The fourth round, I'm like, no. Some people are saying Billy Joe. I said, no. Canelo won that fourth round. The fifth round came along. Billy Joe Saunders started to hit him with those clinical shots, working Canelo, working him. He was giving it to Canelo, giving it to Canelo. He was basically giving it to Canelo. I had Billy Joe Saunders winning that fifth round with the jabs and the movements, the uppercuts and stuff like that. The Canelo just couldn't figure him out. Canelo was still having issues figuring this guy out. He was having problems figuring Billy Joe Saunders out, and you could see it. It showed throughout the whole entire round there. He just couldn't figure him out. That fifth round. The sixth round comes along. When I tell you, one of the most bizarre 6 rounds I ever seen in my life. Like, nobody could land any punches. Nobody was landing any punch. Nobody was hitting anybody. It was all like, it was like literally these guys were just hitting the air. I don't know what happened there. I just didn't see enough. I didn't see enough work rate from both of those guys in that sixth round. The seventh round came. I'll just give it a draw. I'll say it was a 10-10 round right there because nobody was really doing anything. I couldn't see anything. The seventh round came, and I could see them exchanging. I could see them doing some work. I could see stuff going. It was like, to me, it was still too close to call that seventh round. I'm going to edge it out to Billy Joe Saunders with the movements and stuff like that and the herky-jerky. I could see where some say Canelo won that, but I'll just lean more towards Billy Joe on that seventh round. And then the eighth round came along, and Billy Joe Saunders, Canelo took the momentum with the crowd, and Canelo started lacing Billy Joe. Billy Joe had no answers for him. Billy Joe was in survival mode. He started hitting him upside his face. He was giving him brutal shots. Billy Joe was taking punishment. He was being punished. Like Canelo punished him. And basically you could see it. You could see it throughout the fight. And that eighth round came along. And that eighth round came, and he was punching him. He was calling the crowd like, come on, because Billy Joe was doing that. Like, oh, come on. He was doing that during the fight. So Canelo was telling the crowd, come on, give me that energy. Because whenever Canelo threw a hook, even if he missed, sometimes he'd hit him in the arm, block the shot, Billy Joe. The crowd's like, oh. So you could tell it was a pro Canelo crowd, of course. Cinco de Mayo. It's literally, a lot of Mexicans live in Texas. Mexico's right over there. It's literally like right beside, So basically Mexicans can travel over if they want to come see the fight. There's a lot of Mexicans in Texas. Billy Joe was blocking a lot of shots, but the crowd was going thing. But the eighth round came, and he was cooking him, eating him alive. He ended up putting he ended up messing up his eye. I don't know what happened if Billy Joe's eye socket blew out or whatever the case may be. Billy Joe was in pain. Billy Joe was just in survival mode. And then basically, long story short, that was it. They called the fight, bro. Canelo Alvarez wins. 8th round TKO victory. You see what I'm saying? That was it. He did what he had to do. He got rid of Billy Joe Saunders. My take on the whole situation, man. Billy Joe needs to do much better. He needed to do a lot better. He had to show more in that fight. Canelo Alvarez, he's a good fighter, excellent fighter, but he is flawed. He is flawed, man. I'm telling you right now, if the right slick boxer comes in and watches that, I think he could defeat Canelo Alvarez. I think so, honestly. It, it, I don't know who's the right guy though. I don't think there's any guys right now. I don't know. I don't see anybody because some people are saying, okay, Caleb Plant is next. Caleb Plant is next, but can Caleb Plant beat Canelo Alvarez? I don't. I think he's tailor made Caleb Plant for to Canelo Alvarez. I think Caleb's gonna take that L, and I don't know, man. This is just a tough one for Billy Joe, man. Billy Joe's gonna have to go to sleep at night and just be like, I don't understand why he. I don't know if his eye was gone or what. It was a tough one for Billy Joe Saunders to say the least, yo. Canelo Alvarez, congratulations for the victory. You did what you had to do. You took care of business. You did what you said you were gonna do, and I commend you and I salute you for that. You see what I'm saying? As far as what's next for Billy Joe Saunders, I don't know. I don't know. He's not gonna get a Canelo rematch, so I don't know. If he had maybe lost the fight, if Billy Joe just did a little bit more and was more slippery, I just think there's still he's a slippery, slick boxer, but man, it seems like Mayweather was like the only guy that could probably get the job done with Canelo. You see what I'm saying? Canelo, he's a flawed fighter. Billy Joe's a flawed fighter as well, but Canelo's a flawed fighter as well. Like I can only say that, but he did win the fight tonight. There was a lot that I saw expose him. Anyways, it's your guy Selector signing out. Peace.